Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into something that I think every single student has wondered about. Is all this studying actually worth it? We're going to dig into some really powerful ideas from Shwetabh Gungwar to completely flip the script on how you see hitting the books. Think of it less like a chore and more like, well, a superpower.
All right, so let's just dive right in with the big one, right? The question that probably pops into your head when you're staring at a textbook at like 2 in the morning. Why are we even doing this? What is the point of all this studying? You know, it's a question that comes from pure frustration, and honestly, it's a totally fair question to ask.
Okay, let's really get into it. That feeling, that nagging doubt you get, wondering if all this hard work is actually going anywhere, it's real, and it's totally normal. But the real question is, where does it even come from?
Yeah, see, that feeling doesn't just pop up out of thin air. There are some very specific things, both inside our own heads and out there in the world, that are feeding this doubt about whether studying is actually valuable. So, let's break down the main culprits.
So, the source points to 3 really powerful forces kind of working against you here. First up, you've got just plain old academic burnout. I mean, you're studying like crazy, but you're not seeing the results right away, and that is so frustrating. Then, you're just bombarded with these glamorous, one-in-a-million stories of college dropouts who somehow became billionaires. And finally, there's this growing trend on social media, especially coming out of the US, that basically says college is a total scam and academics are pointless. It's everywhere.
And you want to know the wild part? A lot of this anti-education advice comes from influencers who are talking about these really complex subjects like economics or whatever, but they've never actually studied it themselves, not for a single minute. As the source points out, it's kind of like taking financial advice from someone who's never even balanced a checkbook. It just doesn't make sense, right?
And that brings us to this really crucial choice that you have to make probably every single day. Are you going to listen to that one super compelling story, or are you going to trust the data, the evidence from a huge number of people? It's that classic battle, the story versus the stats.
So here's the bottom line. Are you going to base your entire life plan on one person's lucky break? I mean, that's what anecdotal advice is. It totally ignores the thousands of other people who tried the exact same thing and failed. That's survivorship bias. Or are you going to look at the hard data, from fields like psychology and economics, that shows you the probabilities? The data shows what happens to huge groups of people, on average. Now that is how you make an informed choice.
So what does the data actually say? Well, it's pretty clear. Study after study again and again shows a super strong link. Higher education, it's one of the best predictors of having a higher income. But it's not just about money. The data also suggests that couples with more education tend to have more stable marriages. They're in a better position to help their own kids develop, and they have the financial cushion to take breaks when they need to. It gives them so much more control over their own lives. Okay, this brings us to the absolute core idea of this whole thing. To really get why studying is so important, the source argues we have to completely redefine what padai, or learning, even is. We've got to stop seeing it as a chore and start seeing it as a superpower. So the argument is, we need to stop thinking of padhai as just cramming stuff to pass an exam. That's not the point. Instead, we should see it as adhyayan, this lifelong pursuit of knowledge. The goal isn't just to get a good grade. The goal is to sharpen your intellect, your buddhi, so you can actually understand the world and yourself on a much deeper level.
And why is having a sharp intellect so incredibly important? Well, think about it. After you pass all those tests in school, you still have to pass the tests of life. And these are the really tough ones, right? Like, how do you find happiness? How do you build good relationships? How do you find some inner peace? Learning is the only tool you have to even begin to figure out the answers to those big human questions.
So, all of this leads to the final and I think most powerful takeaway here. How do you actually make this mindset a part of your life? It's all about making learning your foundation, your best friend, and really the key to your entire future.
A really good way to think about it is like a journey with 3 main stages. The first stage is academics. That's where you're building a really strong foundation of knowledge. Then you move into your career, where you focus that learning on mastering a specific skill so you can earn a living. But, and this is the important part, it doesn't stop there. The final stage is lifelong. It's about studying life itself, doing that deep internal work to figure out what happiness and peace actually mean for you.
Because at the end of the day, the more you commit yourself to learning in all its forms, the more prepared you'll be. I mean, life is always going to throw obstacles your way. That's a guarantee. But when you have that foundation of knowledge, when your mind is sharp, those giant, terrifying hurdles,
start to look a lot more like manageable steps you know how to climb.
So, what's the ultimate message in all of this? It's actually a pretty profound challenge. Don't just look at learning as another subject in school or some phase you just have to get through. No. The idea is to see it as a core principle for your entire life. As the source so powerfully puts it, make studying your personal religion. The fundamental belief that guides you, that empowers you, and that helps you make sense of everything. Now that's a thought worth studying.